What's up, guys? Ronnie here, back in the garden. Wanted to show you guys something that actually cracks me up to no end. I don't know if you guys caught this when I was showing you my zucchini plant, but within the zucchini plant, I've got a ton of these little puppies growing. And for those of you, any of you guys who spend any time gardening or growing your own veg, you'll know that these are tomato plants. I've got them all over the place here in my zucchini bed, and I've even got some new ones sprouting underneath, right underneath. So the question is, why do I have tomatoes growing in my zucchini? Well, I'm going to show you right now. All right, I'm going to walk back here to an area behind my garage and show you guys my compost. Right, my compost. Okay, so if you look at this particular compost pile actually has tomatoes growing out of the sides. So why is my compost growing a bunch of tomato seedlings and sprouts and actually other weeds growing out of it? Well, my best guess is that it's not getting hot enough. It's not getting hot enough. What I've read from all the research I've done about compost, it takes a 2-to-1 ratio of green to brown by volume, right? And what that means is your greens are going to be your, your grass cuttings, your weeds or whatever that you pull from your garden, food scraps, things like that, things that are kind of fresh. Your browns are going to be paper, cardboard, dried leaves, things like that, right? So a 2-to-1 ratio of green to brown will actually yield you by weight, I believe it's 30 to 1 brown to green, right? So you have to maintain this balance in your compost. Of course, you got to keep it with enough moisture. You got to aerate it, which this particular compost pile is due to be turned. I usually turn these once a week. So you got to keep it healthy, and keep it balanced like that in order to get the decomposition, the microbes, and when everything is in balance, then it generates its own internal heat, which ultimately kills off the seeds that prevent things like this from happening. For me, it's not a big deal. The reason why we don't have a complete balance in our compost is because seasonally we usually have more of one thing than the other, right? In the spring and summer months, we have plenty of green from the grass cuttings, from the vegetables, from food scraps. In the winter, we have an overabundance of brown, right? We live out in the middle of the forest, so we've got plenty of dried leaves, but a lack of green. So it's a weird balance that we generally don't have up here on the mountain, which I'm totally fine with. Again, I'm happy to spend time in my garden to get my hands dirty, picking the weeds out of my garden. And the added benefit is that I have a ton of tomato plants. This whole flower bed is all tomatoes that I did not have to seed, I did not have to buy, I did not have to do anything. I just pulled them out of my garden and moved them here to this flower bed. And yeah, well, they're going on their own. And I even have a couple of hanging planters that are full of tomato plants as well. There's the other one. So that's my compost. Pretty simple stuff. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I know it's not balanced, but I'm totally okay with it. Like I said, I'll end up either with tomatoes that I can use, or I'll end up pulling weeds from my garden, which ultimately end up back in the compost anyways. It's like a nice closed loop. A couple of reasons why I like composting and why I think composting is important. Number one, environmentally, it helps reduce the methane that's produced, a byproduct of food scraps and organic waste going into landfills. So that's number one. And number two, you're creating your own fertilizer. You're creating your own compost. You never have to go to the store and buy. And then therefore that also reduces your footprint, right? It's again, keeping everything as closed loop as possible. If you want wanna get into like really making sure that it's a balanced compost and that it's generating like a hot compost, by all means. I know a lot of people that really get into it. There's thermometers specifically designed for compost that you can purchase at your local gardening store. Again, for me, it's not that big a deal. It's low key. It's low maintenance. I turn it once every week or two and make sure that it doesn't dry out, and that's that. And then, you know, ultimately I'll end up with a ton of tomatoes, right? Okay, so that's it, guys. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If this was information at all, or if you guys got any questions about anything, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you liked it, of course, please, as always, like and subscribe. That would really help me out here on this channel. But until next time, you guys, we'll catch you on some more updates, some more stuff here on projects around the mountain for quarantine. Beyond that, you guys make sure you stay safe, you be well, and I'll see you on the next one.